Well, this morning we celebrate Mother's Day and we honor them. It's a great day to really pause and think about family and the wonderful love that is shared within a family context. We celebrate the compassion and the loving care, the guidance that mothers share with their children. And how fitting it is that we turn to Scripture today and we take a look at what a mother's love is like in this beautiful example from the Bible. This story that you read may seem a little strange, but it's a story of a mother's love for her daughter. It's a deep love. It's being tested. It's being challenged. It's a love that is filled with a daughter's highest and best for her healing. It's something that is a story that is full of all these challenges and testings that really brings her to a place of being stirred, but not shaken. Now let me tell you this. You may focus all on 007, shaken but not stirred. Today we're talking about stirred but not shaken. We're really talking about our spiritual lives and how often it important is that there be some stirring going on. You know how it is, maybe your mother would call you to the kitchen and ask you to stir the pot. Mother would say, honey, would you stir that pot for me so things don't burn? Sometimes we need to stir things up. And why? That stirring brought things up from the bottom, didn't it? Brought that mixture, those wonderful ingredients, you know? Sometimes in the mother's cooking order, it would be, she'd put all these things in the bottom of the pot and then something else poured on top of it. Well, it needed to be stirred up. It needed to be mixed up, didn't it? It needed to be blended together. Oh, so true it is in our own spiritual lives. That we think about the Spirit doing some stirring within us. Stirring to the point that things are awakened, stirred up. Stirred but not shaken. Not to the point that we lose our foundation of who we are. So let's take a look at this text and what it means to be stirred but not shaken. So travel with me in your mind's eye, would you please? Let's just go with a visual right now. That we're in Canaan. Can you imagine what it's like to be on the borderlands of there where Jesus is teaching? Jesus has been traveling with his disciples and his followers. He was one who taught at every single moment and every opportunity. It wasn't just that he taught on Sunday or Wednesday night at 7 o'clock or 10 o'clock on Thursday morning or Sunday morning at 10, like we do here, hint and commercial break. But he was a teaching opportunity, and any opportunity that was given to him, he would take that. And an opportunity to explain, to reach out, to touch, to heal, to bring about a transformational power within people's lives. Here it is, as we think about this, we begin to visualize this mother coming to Jesus with a passion, with a fervent desire within her heart and life for her daughter. She wanted her daughter's healing more than anything else. Willing to come to Jesus as a foreigner, as someone who was society's outcast. For she was just not any mother, she was a Canaanite. You see, when we look at biblical history, we find that Canaanites, well, they were seen as the enemy of the Jews. Remember the children of Israel going in to possess the land? And who did they face? The Canaanites. That obstacle or that opposition that was there for them to claim their very highest and best that was promised to them. The Canaanites symbolized for us obstacles within our own life. There's a wonderful metaphor for when we think about the journey of us claiming everything that God has for us. And sometimes we look at those obstacles as if they are an adversary or an enemy. And it's not true. We don't need to turn them into enemies or adversaries. We know that they're there for a divine purpose. For every obstacle that's in your way is there for a purpose for you, for the unfolding of your highest and best. It's something, a challenge for you to overcome. Now, if you never had an obstacle in your pathway or you never had anything to overcome, how would you grow? How would you stretch, right? So how important it is, as we find even our military go through an obstacle course. They go through the obstacle course in training that will only perfect their skills and only strengthen them and enable them to be even better than what they were before. So in this context, She's a Canaanite woman, which society may see as an enemy or an adversary or an obstacle. You see, Canaanites were social and religious outcasts in the eyes of the Jews. The Jewish society thought them to be less than or seen as truly an enemy to their cause and what they were trying to accomplish. Here we find this message demonstrates in the unfolding in the very beginning that no matter who you are, God's blessings are for you. Doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter what society may think about you. Doesn't matter what labels people put on. God's blessings are universal and therefore everyone. For the Spirit of God shows no partiality. There is no sense of being a respecter of persons. It says one person deserves blessing and the other doesn't. So here's a beautiful nugget of truth found even in the unfolding in the beginning of this story, is that it's reinforcing for us. That society may say, you're not worthy, you're not good enough, you're not one who is someone loved by God or qualified for the blessings of God, or that you don't deserve to be treated equally in some context. If that's so contrary to everything within the truth of this world, the truth of this universe, the truth of God, the very scriptures that unfold this message for us. And if someone is telling you somehow that you are not worthy, or you're not good enough, or that somehow you're not in a category that says you're qualified for God's blessings because of who you are, it's time for you to stand up and say, it's time for you to read your Bible. Because obviously they haven't read it. Obviously they haven't embraced the truth. Because I find people constantly trying to pass judgments on who's in and who's out. Who can take communion and who cannot take communion. Or in the Catholic Church, we might say. Or who's worthy, or who's good, or who can be ordained and who cannot be ordained. And who's qualified and who's not qualified. When we find the whole Spirit of God saying everyone is welcome, no matter who you are, equally. The very passage of scriptures that echoes through the ages is do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So when we think about saying you're not qualified, that's exactly what we're asking the world to say to us. Mirror back to us. I must not be qualified. And sometimes the voices that come out of our mouth are those secrets within our own hearts that we feel we're not qualified. So then we point at someone else and say, you're not qualified. We feel we're not worthy, and so we say, well, you're not worthy. So sometimes we're doing unto others exactly what we think and do unto our own selves. So we want to be careful of that in this beginning of this story, that we see this nugget of truth, that there is no partiality for anyone in the realm of God's blessings. So she comes to Jesus and she's crying for help. She's there as a distraction because she's crying out, and the disciples say, Jesus, please quiet her down. And she's just disrupting. She's bringing all kinds of noise here. She's making all kinds of problems for us. And you can imagine how the disciples gathered around whispering one to another, how are we going to get rid of her? She's making noise. She's causing all kinds of problems. And they're all kind of huddling around and trying to help Jesus because Jesus is trying to carry about a message and finding only that she's a distraction. Get rid of her. I find in today's society that's an easy way for us to deal with distractions. Let's get rid of them. And society wants to say, I see people in need as a distraction. I see people crying out for help. Oh, they're distractions. Today in Atlanta, there are over 6,000 homeless men and women unaccounted for in shelters. Even more have found some place to sleep at night, and they are accounted for within shelters. The 6,000 I'm referring to are places they have nowhere to go. They're living under the bridges. They're living in the woods and the highways along the stream beds throughout the city, hidden in places that many people would not even believe that there is someone there, but they found a personal refuge. Those people that our cities see quite often as a blight on society. Distraction. We're a top city here in Atlanta. We're pretty fancy ourselves. We've got a downtown that brings all kinds of tourists in. We don't want homeless begging. We're We're a fancy place. We're one of America's finest cities. We don't want homeless coming in and panhandling on our streets. So sometimes we think that the passion is centered around how do we get rid of them versus how do we help them. I'm so glad here at City of Light we have a vision for a future. We're purchasing a bus, a mobile ministry vehicle that will take meals to the hungry and homeless that are hidden in those areas. We're going out into the highways and the byways to reach out to them because we don't see them as a distraction. We see them as people in need. And that's the Spirit of Jesus. That's the Spirit of God. That's the Spirit of love. It says we will take it to the highways and byways. We're going to you. We're going to load that bus up with the food and the blessings. And let me tell you, so I got to shout this out because this is so amazing. Again this week, we received food coming in from the program of Second Helping. An amazing abundance, more than what we even could handle at this time. And we fed our Wednesday night and again on Friday morning at no cost whatsoever to the church. Because we receive the food from restaurants and conference centers, programs and grocery stores at the end of the day that they can't use. It's frozen and sent to us or delivered fresh, and we repurpose it and send it out to feed others who can use this and are in need of this. That's how God is working through us, because we open our lives up to say, we don't see things as a distraction. We see them as people in need, and we're here to respond to the needs of the world. That's why we're called City of Light, bringing the light to the world. You know, it's interesting, as the disciples wanted to get rid of this distraction, Jesus' response to the disciples was this. First of all, and this is where it needs some clarity because this text has been so confusing down through the ages. Jesus said, I was sent to the Jews. And here's this Canaanite woman coming in. Jesus was simply saying, I was sent to those who are seekers of wisdom. Because what we know about the Jewish culture, first and foremost, the most important thing was they believed that the best thing you could do was get wisdom. Seek wisdom. Study. Learn. Get understanding. That was priority one within Jewish culture. In fact, Jewish culture was so strong around this element that what they would do quite often is say, if you could get a job, 2 or 3 jobs, earn lots of money so that you could actually retire early and just spend the rest of your life studying, that was wonderful. Seeking wisdom. Because the wisdom of truth, the nuggets of understanding were the greatest things that you could ask for in your life. Greater than the lottery ticket. Oh no, a lot of us would say, wait a minute, are you talking that $415 million lottery ticket? You're telling me wisdom is more valuable than that? Yes, I am. It's priceless. And the seeking of wisdom is the very foundation of our spiritual life and our spiritual development. The importance of us learning to discover the nuggets of truth that will only enable us to be our highest and best is so crucial. So Jesus said, I came to those who are seekers, in other words. And he looks at this Canaanite woman who had a different way of looking at life. Not so much a focus on study, seeking a highest and best. Yet she found within her life a faith that was small, almost like a grain of a mustard seed, as we found spoken of within the Scriptures. And Jesus' response was he felt that this message was best received by those who were seekers. In other words, he was saying that I want to really offer to those who are ready to learn, who want to learn, and how crucial this was to his teaching. So suddenly and her persisting, but Jesus, have mercy upon me. In other words, saying, I honor you, I reverence you, and I reverence and believe in your word. I believe in everything you're teaching. She reverenced it within her heart in such a way. And yet now today's world is shocked by Jesus' politically incorrect words. Politically incorrect words that he refers to the Canaanite woman as a dog. Woo! I was suddenly like, wait a minute. Jesus, that's not politically correct in today's world. We're not about name calling. But we have to understand the spiritual truth that's woven deep within this context to understand. Because Jesus was doing something. He was stirring her and heightening her desire and her determination. Not excluding her, but stirring the love within her to a higher level. Stirred her to see if she will be distracted. In today's world, someone calls us the dog. We drop everything. How dare you call me a dog? We'd abandon our whole faith and the whole reason why we came or entered into a conversation. Because let me tell you this, in our lives, we know we have a calling, we have a purpose. But sometimes our humanness, we get so distracted by the simple things of one another. Someone said something. I didn't like the tone you spoke to me. You know what? I didn't like the way you talked to me. And because you talked to me that way, I am abandoning everything. I forget why I came to church. I forget my faith. I forget everything. I walk with God because all I can think about is this, the way you tone, the tone you used to talk to me. So suddenly I'm so distracted, and I've lost my whole calling and my purpose. Jesus wanted to see, do you mean business? Do you really mean business? So let's just see how distracted you are. Oh, because let me tell you, in life, people are looking for someone who means business. And the Holy Spirit, the spirit and presence of the divine, is looking for those who really mean business. You ever go to groceries? You ever go to a clothing store? Sales associate comes up to you and says, "Hi, can I help you?" And you know, they're eager to make a sale, aren't they? Because they're looking for someone who's ready to buy. But when you say, "No, just browsing," okay, they move on. You know, just browsing, okay. You're just window shopping, honey. You're not here to buy. You don't really mean business. I don't see it. But oh, they see those people walking in with the bags. You know, when you arrive into Macy's and you already got a Saks Fifth Avenue bag, they go, "Oh, hi, can I help you? Because I know you're here and you mean business. You're in a shopping mode. You're here to buy, aren't you? All right, I'm here to help you." Why? Because the sales associate says, "I don't want to waste my time on someone who's not fulfilling my calling." And the Spirit of God is saying the very same thing. You know what? Do you mean business? Or are you just window shopping with your spirituality? Do you really mean business? Have you come here to really claim something? Or are you just browsing? Because in today's world, we find a lot of people who are doing what we call spiritual browsing. They don't really mean business. And they're easily distracted by so much. Someone says simple words, simple thing, simple action, something goes on, and suddenly they've lost all context, they've lost everything, and they've moved on. And suddenly Jesus, in this moment, is saying, really calling out this woman to find out, are you really serious about this? Because I refer to you as a dog, meaning someone who picks up the crumbs, not someone who's sitting at the table. You see, in that Jewish culture, they saw people who sat at the table eager, meaning business, I want to learn. We come to our classes on Wednesday night, and everybody gathers around the table with notes in hand, a pen and paper. They're ready to say, I came here to learn, I mean business. Let's get some nuggets of truth going on here. Let's learn something, because we want to grow, we want to mature, we want to grow, we want to learn how to achieve our highest and best. And yet there are those who are dogs who would say, you know, well, I don't know, throw me whatever. You know, I'll find something. If I sniff up something on the floor, that's good. That's enough for me. In other words, people who didn't mean business. Distracted. So let me tell you this, the Spirit of God is ready to move in people's lives. There has to be an intensity, a desire, and a passion that's there. Those who mean business with God do business through God. If you mean business, and you have this kind of faith that says, I stick to it. I am standing strong. I will not be shaken. I will not be distracted. I find some people who say, I've been claiming the promises of God, and as soon as a challenge comes, they forget it. They're distracted. They threw it out the window. And obviously, they didn't know the promise of God then, did they? People don't know the truth of God's great, immense love that says, I will make a way for you when there seems to be no way. I will provide for you. I will open the doors for you. And in the right and perfect time, it will all unfold for you. But in our impatience, we get distracted. And we give up. And we lose sight. It doesn't demonstrate a faith that says, I mean business. Whoa, let me tell you, this Canaanite woman put Jesus in place, shall we say. She said, I do mean business. Because she said, Jesus, I want you to know that even the dogs can sniff up the crumbs and live. They'll take whatever is given and live. I'll take whatever you got because I know there's sustaining power in it. I know there's something amazing in it. Even if it's just a little more, I'll take whatever you got. Oh, let me demonstrate the fact that I believe that I am worthy. And that's what Jesus really brought out, stirred within her. Stirred within her. Let me tell you this. A lot of us may feel like we get distracted by names that people call us, things that people say to us. We buy into this idea of society that we're not worthy of God's best, that we're not included. And so in that process of that feeling, we just kind of deflate our faith energy. It just kind of goes down. It's, how those party balloons, after they've been around for a while, you've seen them, they just get weak and wrinkly. They look like a little prune. They lose their strength. And that's how we are with our faith. I want to tell you this. This woman said, I don't care what you call me. I don't care what you say. Sticks and stones could break my bones, but names will ever hurt me. That kind of attitude. She said, I know who I am. I am just as worthy as anyone else. I'm just as worthy. So when you say the word Jesus, or when you pray, or whatever you do, I just know that I am worthy of receiving the divine power and presence. I'm worthy of receiving the goodness. I'm worthy of receiving this healing for my daughter. It's not because I'm a Canaanite. It's not because of anything else. It's not because of this. It's because of my own feeling that's been placed upon me that I feel like I'm unworthy. That's what some people would say. I put upon myself. So when you really know who you are, doesn't matter what people say, doesn't matter what people call you, doesn't matter how people talk to you, doesn't matter what they say or the tone of voice that they use. Because what really matters is you know that you're worthy, you're the child of God, and you are equal to and open to the goodness of God. So here it is in this beautiful context of the story that she is demonstrating this. That she says that these real nuggets will keep me alive. Everything that and calls up for her, because what was happening is Jesus was stirring her. And let me tell you this, life is stirring you this week. Maybe stirred you last week. And will stir you this week again. Stir up something within you, because what happens in our day-to-day life is that something needs to be awakened every day. Now, would it be something if we could go to sleep and just go to sleep and never wake up and think, oh, I had 24 years of sleep. How wonderful. It's just no, because something calls us to live every day, right? And every day we need to be awakened if we're going to live in the now. And so it is in the spiritual life that there's something that needs to be awakened. There was awakened within them a needed factor, something special within her that said, I need to pull this out, that stirs such faith that it ignites, that it really fires up, that's full of passion, that has the strength and the fervency behind it, that really calls out your desire. So let me tell you what desire is when you put that in your prayer. There's a lot of people who pray these sort of desireless prayers. It's like, well, okay. Okay, God, if you want to. And if you don't, that's okay too. How much desire is that? When you put some desire, it's like, you put some energy behind it. You put a force behind it. Say, I know, and I claim, and I believe, and I fight. The fire that comes behind your prayer and your claim. That happens that's deep within when you add that needed factor that is a desire that's comes into there. I want to tell you that nothing rocked her desire. Nothing threw it off kilter. This woman has such a love for her daughter, such a belief in the power of God, such an amazing desire for healing to transpire. She wanted this miracle more than to the degree of her faith, to the level of her faith. This is one of the things the Spirit of God is constantly bringing us. What is the level? What is the degree of your desire? A little bit of desire? Lots of desire, great passion. Big difference what it puts behind. We say the fervent prayer of the righteous man. That is, that Scripture says the fervent prayer of the right-thinking one who's really saying, I know that I know that I know God's blessings are there. There's a fervency, there's a fire, there's a passion, a desire. It says, I know that it's there for me. It's a needed factor that Jesus stirred within her. You know how it is that mothers may say to us, as they're doing this cooking, honey, would you taste this? Does this taste good? Does it need more salt? Need a little extra something? A little more sugar? What do you think is missing in this ingredients? You know, mothers, they do some wonderful cooking, and they like to cook to the tastes of their family. So they want to know, does this taste good to you? So sometimes there's something needed in the recipe, and in this case, Jesus saw that what was needed was a stirring in the recipe of her faith, a stirring of an awakening within her, of a desire. Because when you're praying and your desire is lacking, it becomes simply an idle chain. Your faith will not function if there's not a strong desire. And desire brings about an emotion and a feeling to the heart that is the atmosphere in which where faith can act and operate. Let me tell you this. To be stirred is amazing. But to be stirred and not shaken, distracted, or removed is miraculous. And God wants to do this within your heart and life and your faith today. Stir you. Stir it up. Circumstances are coming your way. Things are coming your way. People are coming in your way. They may appear to be like Canaanites, and you may want to make them out to be their obstacle or your enemy. But let me tell you this, they're your greatest blessing, because they're like a spoon in the midst that's stirring it up to help bring about your highest and best. So I want to ask you today, are you ready to say, stir within me what needs to be awakened? Are you ready to say, do it for the divine purpose of taking me to a higher level? Are you ready to say, I will not be shaken, but I love me some stirring? Amen.